Hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. It's good to be back. I have my iPhone on a stand now. Bought a stand. It's like $10. So got this sort of positioned on my desk. You can sort of see a little bit more of what's going on the walls. That's where the records are. The dog is there. Bennett, B, look up. Come here, look. That's the dog. Let's get this straightened. So with that great introduction out of the way, what I wanted to talk about today are some of the records that I have bought during quarantine to sort of support the record stores in my area and in different areas. Bought some from a record store down in New Orleans. But I want to start just by sort of off topic a little bit. Another thing I've been trying to do with whatever sort of disposable income I have during this period is to support a number of mental health organizations that I strongly believe in. There are 3 right now that I sort of spend time evangelizing to friends and family and on social media. And one that I just recently discovered is named after the late artist Daniel Johnston, and I got a water bottle and a t-shirt from them. It's called the Hi, How Are You Project. This is an incredible water bottle, best one I've ever had. That appears to be the company that makes them. I love Daniel Johnston. I have most, if not all, of his records. I really like the documentary on him. There were pieces I wasn't crazy about, but overall, it's a good documentary that I've shared with a number of friends. And I'm just learning about this organization. I think it's fairly young. I'm looking at their website right now. By signing this pledge, you're joining us in the fight to drive awareness and education around mental health. And I know there are a number of artists that I like who are involved in this project, so that's one. Their address is hihowareyou.org, no commas. A second one tied to the music industry is a company called Backline that actually provides resources for music professionals, so artists, artist managers, folks that are on the that are on tour with artists, whether they be stage managers or tour managers, as well as all the people involved. I think there's a very big need for those types of resources for those people, for the music community. And Backline.care, they're also new. They started in late 2019. I've been talking to them a little bit. They're up in Portland. They are a great bunch of folks doing really, really important, good work. So that's another one you can check out. And finally, a nonprofit called Bring Change to Mind. Bring Change to Mind is the web address is bringchange2mind.org. It was started by the actress Glenn Close about 10 years ago, and they are mostly focused on the teen community. So they have programs throughout the country focused on programs within high schools throughout the U.S. Where kids get together and talk about mental health issues. Something that I certainly wish was available for myself and my friends and my peers when I was in high school. Those PSAs out of the way. I hope that if mental health has impacted you or your family, which my guess is most of you, the answer to that is yes. I would check out one or all of these organizations. I may talk a little bit about more of this, may talk a bit more about this in future posts because this is something that's very important to me. And that is that. With that aside, obviously with everything going on in the world, I hope everyone is doing okay. And again, So today I'm going to talk about the albums that I have just recently bought. I bought about, I don't know, 9 or 10 to try and support the record stores in my area. Here they are. As you see, I have some music in the background. I'm going Mazzy style. Hope it's not too loud. I can't tell the volume that will be coming through on the iPhone. In the room, it's at a normal level. I'm not a big jazz fan, but it sounds good when Mazzy uses jazz in the background, so I'm going with that. Wouldn't say I'm not a big fan. I'd say I just don't know the genre all that well. I have a lot of records, a lot of jazz records that I still need to dive into. So to start, a record that friends of mine have been pushing on me for a long time. It's the War on Drugs record, Lost in the Dream. Almost all of my closest friends who are really into music, the ones that I talk to regularly, almost on a daily basis, rave about this record. I had tried listening on streaming services, never really got into it, and I decided to buy it at my local record store, and I'm starting to get into it. Takes a while. They remind me a little bit of this sort of how my Morning Jacket, it took time for me to get into that band, and once I did, I became quite the fan, so I'm hoping that the same happens, just doing an adjustment here, with the War on Drugs. But I've listened to it 4 times since I bought it a few days ago, and I'm really enjoying it. Next is also tied to our friend Mazzy and his friend, the Archivist. This must have been 10 plus years ago. The Archivist was working at a cute little shop in San Francisco. I went in to visit her one day. We were getting lunch or something, and she was playing Stereolab, and it just fit the room perfectly. I never really got into Stereolab, but she, on one of Mazzy's videos recently, the Archivist and one of her friends from LA talked about the record. I have to look at the title again because I'm still new to this. I think it's Dots and Loops by Stereolab, and how much they both absolutely love that record. So I picked it up. This is a reissue. It's a big gatefold. It's thick. I have yet to spin it. Maybe today is the day, but I'm glad that I have some Stereolab in the collection now. The expanded edition. I'm trying to see who put this out. I don't know. Ultra High Fidel Duophonic? I don't know who that is. But Stereolab. Number 3 is a record that was one of my favorites growing up. In my sort of early teen years, I played a lot of basketball. And via friends on my team, I learned a lot about sort of early hip hop, and my favorites were Dougie Fresh was a favorite. I really loved Public Enemy, and these guys are probably my overall favorite, Eric B. and Rakim. I have Paid in Full, which was reissued a number of years ago, and this, their other great record, Follow the Leader, was reissued by Universal in 2017. One of the great early hip-hop bands. Paid in Full came out in 87. This came out 1 year later, 88. What a back-to-back. So I cannot wait to listen to this. Eric B. and Rakim, Follow the Leader. I'm really jumping into stuff that I normally wouldn't buy. Trying, I don't know, maybe in quarantine, I'm trying to tap into some stuff that I have not normally listened to, or that maybe I've sort of left behind. This is the Pink Floyd album Metal. My favorite Pink Floyd record, and I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan. They did a beautiful job of packaging these with sort of different textures on the vinyl covering. I can't explain what this is like, but it's not your normal, it's like a little coating on here. I don't know, it's quite cool. This was reissued in 2016. There's Pink Floyd. And this has the song Fearless, which is probably my favorite Pink Floyd song. So I'm really excited to listen to this one, Pink Floyd Metal. beefing up the John Prine collection. I had about 4 of his records, I think all used, prior to his passing. And I was sort of middle of the road John Prine fan. It was taking me time to get into him, and I was just over the last few years starting to listen to him a lot more. And since his incredibly sad passing, I have been sort of filling out the records of his that I listen to on streaming services, but don't have on vinyl. And this is his second to last record, or was this his last? No, second to last. In Spite of Ourselves. Was really excited to find this, and I'll be spinning this soon. Back to back Prine, his final record, The Tree of Forgiveness, came out in 2018. I think this is considered a classic. Has the song Summer's End, which I know a lot of artists have been covering in tribute to John Prine. I never got to see him live, and that's a real shame. Friends of mine who have, or who did see him live, said it was absolutely wonderful. I watched a lot of videos over the past few months, just to sort of familiarize myself with him, and man, what a sweet, warm, down-to-earth guy. I think there's a channel, something Strombo, I think it's Strombo. I'll correct it in the comments. A gentleman who has artists come into sort of this space that he either manages or owns, and he had John Prine in there, and there's probably only 20-30 people in the audience, and it is an amazing performance. There's also a performance with Bonnie Raitt on YouTube that's really, really good. So a lot out there on the wonderful, wonderful John Prine. Sort of tied to John Prine, I think one of his closest friends, and a man who was incredibly influenced by the music of John Prine, and that is the new Jason Isbell record, Reunions. This came out just a couple weeks ago. Isbell did the very thoughtful, had the very thoughtful idea of releasing this early, 1 week early via independent record stores on vinyl only. So you would get it in advance of the digital street date, as his way of supporting independent record stores. And I think I heard that, is it Grimey's in Nashville, sold 500 of them in that first week. Isbell then went on to have the #1 record in the country, which if you had told me that would happen 10 years ago, 1,000,000 to 1. What a remarkable sort of turnaround in his career since Southeastern in 2013. I'm still getting into this record. I mean, my honest take on Isbell is Southeastern was a perfect record. That was his 1 5-star record, and the now 3 since have, they each have sort of half great songs, maybe a quarter good songs and a quarter not so great songs. I'm getting a little bit of that sense with Reunions. I'm not crazy about the opener. What have I done to help? Feels like a weird opening track, and it's just a little too big. I don't know. I usually skip it and go right to Dreamsicle, which is a great song. It Gets Easier is a great one. I think Running With Our Eyes Closed is another one I like. I'm again still getting to know this record, but it is a great cover, and very much with the times. Strange that he picked a cover like this, given what the world is going through right now. That's Isbell. Got a couple more. Two more new ones. I did not have a James Brown record. Now I have his 20 greatest hits. All-time greatest hits. This was reissued in 2014 by Universal, so we got a lot of UMG stuff today. I saw this for a decent price and know that I need some James Brown in my collection, so I picked it up and I've listened to it and it's great. So that is first time on vinyl with an exclamation point. Originally released only on CD in 1991. So cool to have this on vinyl. James Brown. Next one, almost the last one, almost surprised myself, but I've sort of rediscovered this band, or at least some of their best tracks recently, and it's probably a midlife crisis thing. I think I'm on my third midlife crisis this year. But this is the Supertramp record. If you had told me 2 years ago that I'd be holding this up, no way. But they sort of fall into the bands that I listened to in high school that I'm getting back into. The Eagles. Yep, those Eagles. Sort of getting back into that sound a little bit. A lot of Fleetwood Mac, Simon and Garfunkel. That's what happens when you're at my age, I guess. So the Supertramp record, it's Breakfast, what's it called? Breakfast in America. Looks like this is an original when it originally came out. The logical song, Goodbye Stranger, Take the Long Way Home. There are some great songs on here, some great pop tracks, and I have listened to this twice since I bought it a week ago. So that's it for the new full-length LPs. I wanted to just show one 7-inch that I picked up. It was not cheap, but I heard this song, a friend shared it with me. It came out in 2016, and it is the lead track is in response to a lot of the gun violence that was going on at that time. I believe all proceeds for this go to one of the big anti-gun, I don't know how you say that. One of the biggest nonprofits in support of gun reform. That's a better way of saying it. And it has the absolutely gorgeous A-side called "Beautiful Strangers." It's a long song. It's about 7 minutes long. It is, I think, the best song that Kevin Morby has ever written. Just a truly beautiful tribute to people who families and people who have lost their lives due to gun violence, as well as some of the issues that we're talking about right now this week, in the past few weeks, following the passing of George Floyd. So just a really beautiful song. I would recommend anything out of this video, go listen to the Kevin Morby, Morby song, "Beautiful Strangers." And little did I know when I ordered it that the B-side is a Townes Van Zandt cover, "No Place to Fall." So a perfect 7-inch for my tastes. And this is a treasure for me. Lastly, an artist, an album that I wish more people knew about. This is more so the artist. I really do like this album, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's his best. His best would be, I will say in a second. This is Matthew Ryan, singer-songwriter, who's been around a long time, 20 plus years. This is the album Matthew Ryan versus the Silver State that came out in 2008, a record that I really love. There's Matthew Ryan, it's his band. I saw him not too long ago on a double bill, or actually he opened for Rhett Miller, and Matthew Ryan was great. His best record is Mayday, his first record, a tremendous album that back when it came out, and I can't remember the exact year, I listened to over and over for a year plus. Just a very underrated, or he's just not known as well as he should be. Matthew Ryan, a tremendous talent. Almost all of his records are great. And this is one of my favorites of his. See, I got it at Amoeba Records for $5. That was one of those finds. I had no idea this was available on vinyl. So that's it, Matthew Ryan, check him out. Not the quarterback from the Atlanta Falcons, I think he's on. Not the same guy. That's it for today. Some records I've picked up. I've also been trying to support some venues that I love. One that I've never even been to, Dan Silverleaf, which is in Denton, Texas. A lot of the bands that I love play there a lot, and they talk about that venue all the time. So I bought a t-shirt, small, it's $20 or $25, something small just to give them a few bucks. So that's during quarantine, given my love of music and what an impact it's had on me, I'm trying to do what little I can to help venues, artists, not just sales, but as I mentioned, the mental health stuff. There's a lot of ways we can try and help this community, because I know if large chunks of this or any piece of this doesn't come back when we're all back out and leading, somewhat of normal lives again, I will be heartbroken, because this music, and especially like a long tail of music, means the world to me. So that's it. I was about to say have a good weekend, but it's Tuesday. So have a good week, and I will talk to you folks soon. Take care. Thank you.